We're not here to model the mechanics of the mouth. We're here to make flapping mouth movements that look satisfying. Okay, here we are once again in the BFDI assets. If we open up the library, we can see that there are a lot of mouths in the body parts folder. Now, it seems like there's a lot of mouths, but you can pretty easily divide them into categories, where each category has a main mouth that's the most extreme version, and then there are transitional mouths that are just there to smooth out the motion. That's why for this chapter, I've narrowed down the mouths and sorted them into just the ones that are useful for lip syncing, and I've uploaded that to the same page that the BFDI assets are at, which is now up to date, so make sure to check that out again if you haven't already. Just like the previous chapter, we'll knock out a simple animation and then refine it from there. First, you're going to want to make sure you have the frame picker by opening Window, Frame Picker. And if you select any graphic that's on the stage, you can see it'll show all of the frames that are inside that graphic. Now, everyone has their own workflow, but just to make things easy to follow, we'll keep Create Keyframe unchecked so that when we click on one of these, it won't create a keyframe. Instead, it'll just change the instance that's already there. We're going to start by dragging our mouse somewhere in this area by holding down our mouse button and moving the cursor. First, I'm just going to use the frame picker to change this back to a teeth mouth. Now, to match the onset of this hey, we'll make a keyframe and open the mouth here to the widest mouth. Then, to mark the end of this syllable, we'll make another keyframe to change this mouth to the teeth version. And that's to mark the end of the syllable visually. Now, that's not what happens in a real mouth, but we're doing what an animator would do to interpret this sound and stylize it in an understandable way. Now, for the w sound in were, we'll put an o mouth there. But the weird thing about this word is that in were is also usually going to use the o mouth too. But to make it look better, let's make that the open mouth instead. And then we'll go ahead with the rest of the syllables and just mark the start and end of those syllables with an open mouth and a teeth mouth.
The alliance.
Now, your mouth in real life does not move a lot when you say the a lot, but we're going to put those mouth movements in there just to translate that sound in a visual way.
The alliance.
Now, our mouth is already the teeth mouth here, since it's saying iron. It's already closed here, but we want to convey the s sound somehow. If we leave it unchanged, it looks like it's pausing, so we'll actually have it open up.
Right.
Now for the word right, we're just going to put the rest of the mouth movements that we need to. So first, an O mouth. And then an open mouth.
The alliance, right? The alliance, right? Hey, we're like the alliance, right?
Great. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do that for the following line.
It's good, but it would be easier if you helped. It's good, but it would be easier if you helped. It's good, but it would be easier if you helped.
You can see how in that last syllable there, helped, your mouth actually is not moving at all when you're saying that, but I'm putting that movement there just to visually represent that part.
Hey, we're like the alliance, right?
It's good, but it would be easier if you helped.
There we go, 2 sentences that are now fully lip-synced. So now we've blocked out the main movements of the mouth. We could totally stop here, but what we want to do next is smooth it out with in-between mouths, and it's not as straightforward as it might seem. So with this pre-made mouth graphic, I've ordered these mouths so we can make keyframes to sort of walk down the row and grow the mouth over time.
Hey.
But one weird quirk about the BFDI assets is how the smallest open mouth is the same size as the teeth mouth. And what that means is that you'll end up with the mouth shape staying the same while the color inside of it changes, and you generally don't want to transition like that. Just like how in the previous chapter we used body motion to hide the eye changes, we want to use a change in size to hide the change in mouth type. So instead we'll jump from the teeth to the second open mouth. And I'll just do that by removing these keyframes here. I could do this by right-clicking and going to Clear Keyframe. But to be cool, what I'll do instead is hit Shift F6. Some of these syllables are really short, so if we want to fit all of our in-between keyframes in there, we can actually fudge the timing a bit. And I think we should, since our mouth spends a lot of time as the teeth mouth, where it's totally motionless. We have the ability to break up those pauses by moving some of the motion ahead of the audio. Pro tip: having the visuals come before the audio by a few frames is totally okay, but coming after the audio isn't. It's like our brain sees the image and uses it to predict the sound, but if the sound comes first, it's like we get caught off guard and it looks sloppy.
Hey, we're like the Alliance, right? Hey, we're like the Alliance, right?
Now, that might just look like a blur, but all I've done is just stuff in between mouths, in between where the main mouths were. And then I've also shifted some a bit just to make room where there weren't enough frames just to put them. Now to do it with the other line.
It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped. It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped. It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped.
Now we've smoothed out all the mouth motions. Thankfully, pencil in this line isn't speaking all that quickly, so we have room to fit in the mouth opening and the mouth closing. But if these syllables were faster, you'd only keep the mouth closing, which you'll see in the next section.
Hey, we're like the Alliance, right?
It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped.
Let's open a scene that I animated in BFB 14, which has a good amount of lip syncing with custom mouths, and you can also find this FLA online, once again at bfdi.tv/assets. Here we are, looking at 13-60.fla. Now, as a rule of thumb, the closed mouth should be at about the same height as the top lip of the open mouth, so the bottom lip is what's doing most of the moving. That's just mirroring the way that a mouth moves in real life, when it's your jaw going up and down. In addition, we usually want the closed mouth to be wider than the open mouth. It's as if the open mouth has been squashed and flattened down. For adding in-between mouths, I find it helps to make them very highly eased, so the open mouth will have an in-between version that's 90% like the original open mouth, but then 10% going into the closed mouth. There's no reason it has to be eased like that. Like, you can make it 50-50, where it's halfway between open and closed, but most of the time I find it looks better to keep the animation looking snappy. For the closed mouth, we could choose to make it ease out so it slowly completes its motion, but when the mouth is moving fast, I prefer to have it already be on its way back open. So you'll often get this pattern where each mouth movement is 2 frames long, and it starts with the more extreme version before bouncing back in a sort of ease in motion. And I find that looks better than those 2 frames being an ease out, where it's completing a motion. But if a syllable is longer than that, then an ease out is perfectly fine. Here are 2 things you can do whether you draw your own mouths or you're using existing mouth assets. These are going to add extra life and character either way. The first thing is to add some horizontal motion. Just like how we made the arm raising motion more organic by adding some complexity, we're going to make this mouth motion look a bit less one-directional by skewing it one way as the mouth opens and the other way as it closes. This is going to give it a circular motion, so instead of the mouth changing directions completely, now it's going to look at least a little bit more continuous. We're going to hop back into our existing animation and carefully go through each keyframe so that as the mouth opens, it's skewed in one direction. And as it closes, it'll be skewed in the other.
Hey, we're like the Alliance, right? Hey, we're like the Alliance, right?
Depending on how well you do it, it could give you some good results. Now, with that extra variation added, you can see how it takes it a bit further from just swapping assets and closer to a more organic movement. Well, let's just see if I can do that a little bit better with the second one.
It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped. It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped.
The second thing we'll do is add some transitions to the O mouths, which are pretty different from the rest of the mouths, so they stand out, and what we want to do is blend them a bit better. Let's find the O mouths. There's one, and then we'll manually squash the mouth that's right before it. I'm holding Alt so that the right side stays in place. We could add other adjustments like skewing or rotating it, but as long as the general shape is closer to the O mouth, we'll get a smoother transition. And then we'll do the same thing for the mouth directly after it.
Hey, we're like the Alliance, right?
It's good, but it'll be easier if you helped.
We have now made our mouth movements a little bit more fancy. Can I rant a bit? If you look up guides about lip syncing, chances are you'll be shown something that looks like this. It's a chart assigning mouth shapes to different letters. I know it's a good starting point for learning, but I just want to rant about why so many of the learning materials about lip syncing are either misinformed or straight up lie to you. Don't use L mouths. La, na, da, ta, sa. All of these consonants use the tip of the tongue, not just the letter L. If you're going to use an L mouth, you should be using it for all of these consonants because they're what are called alveolar consonants. They are all produced by touching the tip of your tongue to the alveolar ridge behind the teeth. None of these consonants even involve the teeth in any way. What's more messed up about this L mouth is that in English, the L phoneme is the only alveolar consonant that doesn't even use the tip of the tongue much of the time. If you speak one of these dialects of English, chances are that if you say an L at the end of a syllable, it becomes a dark L. I'm doing it right now. Say L. That consonant, the dark L, is a velar consonant, so it's made in the throat. You can't draw that, unless you're drawing a medical diagram. Anyway, I'm done ranting. All I'm trying to say is that there are no hard rules you can follow that translate written letters into mouth shapes. It's all about making something that just feels right. We're not here to model the mechanics of the mouth. We're here to make flapping mouth movements that look satisfying. Just like how the arm raising motion we made last chapter was stylized, moving mouths should be stylized too. It should feel right more than it should match the waveform on your timeline.